you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to make your own homemade low-carb blueberry crumb muffins. So come on and let's get into it. You'll need a few simple ingredients. This recipe calls for almond flour, 2 cups, a half a cup of coconut flour, half a cup of brown sugar swerve, and as well as a 1/4 cup of confectionery swerve. We're saving that for the later part in the recipe. And then a 1/4 cup of almond milk. You'll need some cooking spray, whatever you have is good, but preferably coconut oil spray or avocado oil spray to spray the baking line. For more of the dry ingredients, you'll need sea salt, baking powder, ground cinnamon, and as far as the wet ingredients, you'll need 3 whole eggs, some liquid stevia, some vanilla extract, and let's get into this recipe. So I have here 2 cups of sifted almond flour. It's very important that it's sifted because it makes the muffins a little lighter and more like a muffin, like a regular muffin. So get your sifter out and sift. I have to say, I do agree, I'm more of a cook more than a baker, but as I keep doing baked goods, as I keep baking, I'm learning some things about it. And one of the things that I've learned over time is that sifting is really important because it alleviates a lot of lumps and makes the flour lighter. It's not cakey, like it doesn't cake up on you. And especially with almond flour because it is dense. Unlike traditional all-purpose flour, which really doesn't have much of nutrients in it except for carbohydrates and maybe a few other things, but minor things. And coconut flour has a lot more nutrients in terms of fiber, fat, vitamins, and minerals. And it's better, it's overall better for you. And so now I'm putting in a half a cup of almond flour. And again, that needs to be sifted. This is actually my mother's sifter. It's probably over 50 years old. That's why it kind of looks beat, but I always like to remember my mother. She was a really good baker. Okay, so we have our sifted flours, which is, of course, almond flour and coconut flour. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of brown sugar flavored swerve. That goes right into the dry ingredients. And you'll notice that swerve is quite like, it's actually a lot like regular brown sugar. It's thick and it's clumpy. So what you want to do, I'll show you what to do after, but I'm going to whisk it with a whisk to kind of undo the lumps in there. You're going to want to add a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I like to add cinnamon because this makes it seem more of a crumb type of a cake. But it really is a muffin. But it gives you the feeling that you're eating a crumb cake when you eat one of these muffins. Okay, so, oh, and don't forget your sea salt. And I'm just going to put in probably a half a teaspoon of sea salt. Not much. And then we're going to take all the ingredients and sort of unclump them with the whisk. Try to unclump as much as you can. And then for our wet ingredients, I have in my handy Ninja blender 3 whole eggs. You're going to want to put in 1 dropper full of liquid stevia, a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Also, I have melted coconut oil, and that's 3 tablespoons or 1/4 of a cup. Goes right into the blender there. And we also are going to add in 1/4 of a cup of almond milk. Right into the handy blender, just like that. And now we're going to put our lid on our blender and whirl it till it gets mixed nicely. That's pretty mixed well. And now basically we're going to give it another good mix here. Our blueberries will get folded in a minute. But let's put our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. Give it a good mix. I have sprayed the muffin pan with avocado oil spray, so to prevent sticking. And like I said, you preferably would want to use avocado oil or coconut oil. But if you don't have those on hand, you could use whatever you have. So the consistency of this batter is quite, it's kind of on the thick and clumpy side, but that's what we're looking for here. Although what I will do is add a little drop of water to it. Just like literally a drop, just to loosen it up a little bit. And now we want to fold in our blueberries. That's actually 3/4 of a cup of fresh blueberries. So, and we fold them in so that we don't injure them in this recipe. So give it a good mix. Try to portion out the blueberries. It can be tricky, but do your best, right? That's the, I love that saying, do your best. So it seems as though they're pretty well mixed. It's pretty well mixed. And now I am going to step over here and get in your face and use our wooden spoon to pour the batter into our muffin tin. And I have to tell you, the ingredients that you're using in this recipe is a very generous amount. The reason I say that is most muffin recipes that are low carb, they usually take an ingredient list like this with these measurements and make 12 servings. But I'm actually using this recipe to make 6 servings. And these servings are hearty. They're pretty good size. And I like to have these muffins with a cup of coffee, and it's pretty much my breakfast. Like it's a full satisfying breakfast. The only thing you might maybe want to add a little protein with it if you're following a low carbohydrate diet, like maybe a boiled egg or something like that. So it looks like we have all of our muffin batter in our muffin tin or pan, whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to want to put some topping on to give it that crumb feeling. So we have our brown sugar swerve and we have our avocado spray. But I also am going to add a little bit of confectionery swerve. You can pick these up over at Target. Target pretty much has mostly all the different flavors. They have granular, they have confectionery, they have brown sugar flavor. So what we're going to do is probably, let's see, I'm saying a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of brown sugar swerve on each. And remember, it's kind of clumpy. So, okay, so we're going to take between a half a teaspoon and a teaspoon of brown sugar swerve and put it right up on top of each muffin. This looks actually a half a teaspoon. But what you would want to do is adjust it according to your preference. You might not want to have this added sweetness to it. You might like to have it just the way it is, which will be totally fine because the blueberries give you a bit of sweetness as well. So we have our brown sugar swerve up on top. Now I'm going to take just a dab of the confectionery swerve and put that up on top. Just like I'm using a teaspoon for all 6. So just a dab of that on the top. And this really gives it that that crumb, you know, like an apple crumb cake, the crumb topping. Now what we're going to do is take our avocado oil and spray lightly up on top, like minuscule amount. Okay, so by the way, the oven was preset for 350. It's been preheating for 350. So this is what the muffins look like before they go in. So let's pop them in. We're going to give the timer probably about 30 to 35 minutes. Everybody's oven is different. I set it for 35 at 350. Put it on the second row. Close that baby up, and I'll see you when they're done. Hey you guys, we're back. We're going to get our muffins out. I snuck in a peek at them a few minutes ago, and they looked pretty good. But let's check them out now. This is about 32 minutes so far. So let's see what's up. Oh, wow. That looks pretty good. So you'll want to get them nice and brown on the top like that. And also another test to see if they're done is if you have a toothpick handy, take a toothpick and insert it in. But if not, take a butter knife like I have here and insert it in the center. And if it comes out clear, although this hit a blueberry, so it's a little drippy. So let's try another spot with no blueberry. That looks pretty clean to me. So these are done. We're going to shut that off. So what you're going to want to do is, of course, wait till they cool down. So these aren't really a low-calorie type of a food. However, they are very nutrient dense. They have protein in there. They have fiber in there. They have a variety of vitamins and minerals in there. And the blueberries themselves have their own nutrients between antioxidants and fiber and vitamins. So at least if you're going to spend 300 or 400 calories on something that has some sweetness to it, you're at least going to want to have some nutrients that your body gets out of it. So I suggest these muffins. And again, these are gluten-free. There is no sugar added. They're very tasty with a cup of coffee, I have to say. And what I'll do is I'll break down the total calories for the whole recipe divided by 6, and then you'll have your calories. And I'll also break down the nutrients for you so that you know what the macronutrients are. Stay tuned where we test these out and try them, but they're too hot right now. So come back in a minute. Hey you guys, welcome back. So the muffins have cooled down and I made some coffee because I really enjoy these muffins with coffee. Before I forget, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video with others. I'm trying to carry the message about low carbohydrate eating and how it's beneficial for our health, and I would appreciate that. Thank you. So getting back into this muffin, here is what our muffin looks like. And I have a cup of coffee handy. So let's go. I didn't put anything on it. This recipe has no lactose, so it's lactose free in addition to gluten free and sugar free. The only sugar that's in this is the sugar that actually comes from blueberries. So let's give it a whirl and see what's up. It's got its crumb feeling on the top with a little hint of sweetness. If you're looking for something to have, let's face it, if you're following low carb, Dunkin' Donuts muffins are out of the question, or any other muffins are out of the question. But if you're looking for something that's low carb that you'd like to have as a treat once in a while, this is actually a good alternative. So, let me have a sip of coffee because that's how I really enjoy these. It's fantastic. So what I would say, try this out. Let me know what you think. And stay tuned because the next video, I'm planning to do low carbohydrate crackers that are made with almond flour. And I'm planning to use different types of seasonings so that, for example, pizza flavored crackers. And stay tuned for that video. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Over and out, ciao for now. And you know it. I'll see you in the next one.